Welcome, everyone, to GalaxyCon Live, where we bring the convention experience direct to you. I am your host, Steph Strickland. Thank you so much for having me. This panel is for you, oncers. This show that focused on hope, about finding your happy endings, and about the interesting ways good plays against evil. I want to introduce our guest to you right away. And for those of you who are familiar with me, I get to your questions immediately. Normally, I would encourage you to put them in the chat, but producer Paul tells me, oh no, you're already there chatting away. So thank you for your questions. We'll get to those. But right now, let's go ahead and bring up on the screen Jennifer Morrison, who played Emma Swan. Hi, Jennifer, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Who is joining you today? This
is Ava. Oh. She doesn't like closed doors, so when I have to close the door, she ends up in with me. So
I think she's going to be the hit of this. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's bring in right now Keegan Connor Tracy, the Blue Fairy. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for making the time today. We appreciate it. Eon Bailey, come on in. Pinocchio, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Hearing you loud and clear. That's great. And now, Beverly Elliott joining us, Granny, who shoots a mean crossbow and drinks out of 17 different mugs. We were just chatting in the green room, and every time she took a sip, it was, very nice. Very nice. So I have to start by asking all of you, how was this last year for you? It was so interesting and challenging and so difficult on so many levels. I'm wondering how you all did it. You know, here we are gathering in the virtual space, which has really just become a thing. Jennifer, how was your last year for you?
I feel like, I feel very lucky because my family and my friends are healthy. And I know that's not the case for everyone who has gone through this crazy time. There was more than just illness. There was so much social unrest that was well-deserved. And I think there's just been a lot to unpack for everybody. But I feel very lucky because I'm surrounded by people who are very open-hearted, and we're all trying our best to figure out how to be educated and be better versions of ourselves. And I think, there's some interesting things that have evolved, things like these virtual conventions. There's so many ways that people have sort of pivoted and figured out how to stay connected in any way they can stay connected. And obviously that doesn't necessarily, equal an in-person connection, but at least, we're all finding ways to reach out and support each other. And I think it's been amazing to be able to do these conventions and still be able to connect with the fans and be able to have those interactions. And, where everybody's just doing the best they can.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, full disclosure, I'm going to regret saying this, but I'm doing this in my pajama pants. So, there you go. Keegan, how has your last year been for you?
Well, certainly I echo all the things that Jen was saying, that those things, sort of go without saying in a lot of ways, that it's been hard for everybody in lots of ways. And so you just have to, I just found it was a year of being able to try to focus on little things and be grateful for what there was. I took peace in some of the quiet time of it, really, because it's such a go all the time. Here's a thing, and it's due right now. And my kids got to go here.
Oh, I think we just, Keegan, you froze for a second there. Beverly, what
writing, and so it's been good in lots of ways if you look in the right place, I think.
I think it's relatable for everyone in the chat, right? We all have our own experience that sort of echoes what you're saying. Beverly, how was your last year?
I echo what both of you gals just said. Absolutely. But I really, in the beginning, I welcomed it because I've been in this business for 36 years, and I'm a character actor and a singer and a children's performer. And it's the same thing. I'm always hustling. When's the next gig? When's the next job? So to just unplug and not have to be hustling work was so great. And I think my nervous system just settled. And I started snowshoeing and hiking, and I've, changed my body. I've lost 30 pounds. I've gotten fitter, and it's just, I've made it, because in the beginning I gained 7 pounds,
I was going to say.
And then I went, this is crazy. This is not stopping. So I just turned it into a personal wellness time. And so that's been great. And now I feel like, okay, when we go back, I'm not going to go the way that I used to live, just always saying yes to everything and just trying to, get the next gig. And I've been teaching, like, thank goodness for this online. I teach acting classes online to kids. So I've been able to work through it. And, now we're filming a little bit here too. So it's been good. And everybody's...
I really noticed myself, I gained all the weight and have yet to take up snowshoeing. So I will lean on you for inspiration. Ian, how was your past year?
I really appreciate hearing what the ladies had to say. And I also agree with a lot of those sentiments. The exercise has been great. Like, I've always made that a priority in life, and now I can make it even more so, just finding ways to be healthy. And I get more time with my children, which is an amazing thing. If I were working the entire time, I would miss this critical stage in their development, and the family time has been good. It's also difficult for me. I'm a Gemini, to stay in one place for so long. I've been in Canada for over a year, and I've never since I was probably 15 years old, have I been in one place for so long of a time. I've been getting to do reading, and I'm preparing my next show, which I'm excited about doing. So thankfully, I have found work that's meaningful during this time. I do think it's important, and something I've been doing is questioning all systems of government, of every modality. I want to look at and investigate further. What assumptions do I make in life, or have I made because of my conditioning, my upbringing? What if I decided 1 + 1 = 2? Now I'll look and think to myself more, do these assumptions bear out, or do they warrant further investigation? And I find personally that they do warrant further investigation. And I certainly want to say that I don't think anyone should feel shamed for really asking a lot of questions and being very critical and even suspicious during these times. And I think that's ultimately a smart, healthy perspective to have. And I encourage people to remain vigilant.
Mm-hmm. That is very profound. And now we're going to do this 180, because if I don't get to Oncer's questions, man, we are going to hear about it. Let's bring in producer Paul. The first question for you from Isabella. Ooh, what was the funniest scene to record? Jennifer, why don't I start with you?
Oh man, I mean, I wish there was more levity on the show. I feel like I'm sure there were funny things that happened. I might have forgotten most of them. I always go back to that damn coconut thing, just because, I don't know, it was very memorable. It's what stuck out for me. It was like, I just couldn't believe that I had to trap a spirit in a coconut that had only one way that it fit together. I mean, only one exact way that it fit together. So
thank you, props.
It was challenging and memorable. And I don't know that I was laughing about it, but I certainly know everyone else was laughing about it, because I looked completely insane trying to achieve this take after take. So yes, the coconut, the magical coconut brought us all a lot of joy and tears.
Tears for some. Keegan, what about you? You laughed audibly, so that obviously took you back. What was your funniest scene to record?
I feel like it was one of the Blue Fairy ones where I was in the in the stunt rig, and it wasn't quite weighted properly, and I had the big frilly dress with all the things, and I fell forward, and I just didn't get my balance well enough to be like this, and I just turned upside down, and all the tendrils and my butt and all the stuff was just I was sort of stuck there, I couldn't quite get myself back up again. That was amusing for all.
That's so funny. Oh, that's pretty good. Ian, what about you?
Well, when Jen and I did our scenes in the forest, when August is revealing to Emma, trying to show her that his leg is in fact wooden. It's such a thing, when Jen and I know visual effects are going to be overlaid onto my leg, but the reality is it's just me going look at my leg. Look at this. It's completely wooden. Don't you see? Don't you see?
Wasn't it also when I was really sick and you were wrapping cabbage around my neck? It was I was coughing and dying, and then you were dying laughing because your leg wasn't wood, but we kept talking about your wooden leg.
You know what I love about the cabbage is that I introduced, because I had heard about this technique from some Ukrainian like people who are serious about health, and they explained this old method to heal yourself, and it had to do with wrapping cabbage around your neck or something like that. And then one day, either you or somebody was like, Ian, you got to check out Jen on Ellen DeGeneres, and she's got. Either you were sick at the time. What was it? You were sick, or you were just.
I don't remember what led to it. I just know that somehow I think they saw on Instagram that I had tried your cabbage wrapping suggestion, and then they just glommed onto that. So then there was just a whole stretch of cabbage neck wrapping that went on for a while there.
You really took that and you ran with it and you brought it to millions of people. Well, for the record, I've never tried it.
Oh, amazing. I was like, well, Ian's a really healthy guy. I mean, I remember, I don't think I'd ever even heard of, Himalayan pink salt before I met Ian. He, took me to this amazing crystal shop. I still have, by the way, the rock that I got at the crystal shop with you. And he was introducing me to all these wellness and healing things, and I was like, oh, he really knows. And he said to wrap cabbage around my neck, so I listened.
Those ladies were probably pulling my leg, and it just got passed all the
No, it's powerful stuff.
When you don't feel well and you're you've tried everything, you'll try anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a mental note of that. So if you see that pop up on my Instagram story, you'll know why. Beverly, what was your funniest scene to record? That question coming from Isabella.
And I just do you cook the cabbage or is it raw?
No, it was raw.
Raw.
Wasn't it raw? Yeah, raw cabbage. Because I think wilted cabbage would have been a whole other. Yeah. It just looks weird because you've got these big leaves of cabbage and then a scarf wrapped around it. You just have
It's way weirder when you put it in your bra when you're breastfeeding because that's an old question.
Oh, wow.
Keegan, it's in the baby books. It's in the baby books still. Yeah.
So there you go.
I haven't gotten there yet.
My funniest scene was, and there was several, but the one that just comes to mind right now is when we were in the forest and I had the crossbow and we were chasing, I was with Red and we were chasing, and it was the first time that we were going to take the safety off the antique crossbow. And we were going to fire it because the safety's on. Don't worry. We've got the safety catch on it. It's not going to fire. So I'm holding the crossbow up here, and they go, okay, let's try firing it. Everybody clear away. We're going to fire this thing. You ready? I got it. Okay. And it's a big build up. And then I fire the crossbow and it literally goes, almost 2 inches in front of us. So it was anticlimactic completely. Yeah.
Oh, well, you tried. Let's go ahead and bring in the next question from our chat. Jenny wants to know, what is your favorite type of music? And Beverly, there's a lot of folks with sort of a musical background here, but Beverly, I'll start with you because as a singer-songwriter, I think you will appreciate this question from Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. My favorite artist, I'll say that because I like all kinds of music. I think it's kind of that indie southern folk rock that would be the category, but people I think Van Morrison originated it, one of the originators, but I like Patty Griffin. She's an amazing songwriter, singer-songwriter. If I need to have a cry, if I need to just feel anything, I can put her on and instantly I'm back in my body. I'm back in the land of, connected. I love her.
Jennifer, you also have sort of music in your family. So what is your answer for Jenny, your favorite type of music?
Yeah, I don't know that I could say I have a favorite type, more that I sort of use different kinds of music for different moments. I have all sorts of different playlists, and sometimes I'll dive into a project where I go down a rabbit hole of music that I really never was aware of and suddenly really love. But we grew up with a lot of classical music in our house. So classical music is something I use a lot in terms of just focusing and kind of calming myself, especially if I'm writing or rewriting or working through something creatively. And then lately life has just been so kind of crazy and hectic lately. And the Spotify peaceful guitar channel, it's highly repetitive, but very soothing. So there's been a lot of peaceful guitar Spotify going on as of late. I get in the car, I'm like, peaceful guitar.
I can hear people opening the Spotify app on their phone right now.
Yeah.
To make sure they have that. Ian, what's your favorite type of music?
I like all kinds, and it depends on the mood and the place and what kind of spirit I'm trying to invoke. But I just open up my app. I use Apple, whatever it's called, the Apple list, and
Apple
so I've
Music.
got DMX Essentials. He passed recently, and
Yep.
I like that guy. Hugh Masekela, South African artist. The Doors, Essentials, Bob Marley. I like just everything. I like every single kind of music and every place. I've been thinking a lot about Palestine lately, so I listen to my friends, Samir Jubran Trio, who are incredible Palestinian artists, three brothers, and they play the oud, and they're really great. So I'd really recommend them. Yeah, like everything there's not one genre I don't love.
I like the breadth of music that you guys are bringing to the table. Keegan, what do you like to listen to?
Yeah, geez, no pressure after this.
I know, right?
Eclectic, holy cow. I'm one of those people that will play the same song 100 times. I'm after this vibe, and so I'll play it. I get very caught into moments from those. But one thing I have discovered is this, because I can't have noise around when I'm trying to write, but I also can't listen to music. So there's this stuff on Spotify that's I found it on TikTok, 750 megahertz something sounds.
I have that. Yes.
So I've been putting those on while I'm working. So that's my little. It's not exactly the same as music.
Binaural beats or something.
Pardon?
Is it called binaural beats?
That is it. Yeah. And I found
Binaural?
that to be a good thing to get into. Because then you can still focus, even though something's going on that blocks out, your neighbors screaming at each other or whatever that might, or your children, screaming at each other,
Keegan, the one that I have is by a guy named Kev Thompson, and it's 5 megahertz, 5HG theta for creativity and intuition. Kev Thompson, 5HZ theta, and I listen to it even in the bath. It's fantastic. So I really hope you like it. But once you said that, I was like, open my Spotify because I can relate to this. Let's go ahead and get into
What's the name again, Steph?
It is by Kev Thompson, and it's the 5HZ theta for creativity and intuition. And I hope you like it.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Wow.
Okay.
I said we like I was more than one person. I don't.
It's the royal we.
Even I will try it.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's get to the next chat question from Gia. If you could have any superpower, what would you choose, and how would you use it? Beverly, I'll start with you.
Oh my God. Well, I would heal the world. I would just I would just wave a magic wand and make everyone peaceful and happy and well fed and healthy. So a superpower just to, take care of all these problems and the horrific things that are happening in the world. That's what I would do.
I think everyone, everywhere is going to agree that one is the absolute top choice. So now I'm going to ask Jennifer, what is your second best superpower that you would have? What would you choose? How would you use it?
Well, I guess a variation on that would be like an empathy wand.
Yeah.
If you could just sort of show someone what someone's going through with just one swoop of your hand, so that you could have some empathy for why they're doing what they're doing or where they're coming from, or,
Beautiful.
And then Bev can come in and heal them.
I love it. Okay, so now to the third favorite for you, Keegan, your third favorite superpower. And what would you choose? How would you use it?
It's like tag team superpowering here.
Yeah.
So, you'd all just add on.
We're gonna create a new Avengers here. No pressure.
The empathetic Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
In light of the things that have already been taken, so my addition would be, I think the ability to get, I mean, obviously we want to erase social iniquity and things like that, but I guess I would say presence. I think it's the greatest gift I've learned of the last couple of years, which were born out of adversity, that I had to learn to turn off the monkey brain. And so that ability to be present in the moment has been life-changing. And so to be able to spread that, I think, and give people that ability, I think it's tremendously empowering. And it allows you to weather the storms that are inevitable a lot better. So I guess that's what I would say.
You are all the deepest thinkers, and it makes my heart very happy. Ian, what would you choose?
I would take those three ideas because I think those are the most interesting to me as well. And I would take those concepts and synthesize them. And the ability would be, the superpower would be you could take anybody and like presto, you could put them in the shoes of somebody else. And while they are in their shoes for a certain period of time, they're living that experience for a moment and getting to see what someone else's experience is. They would have to be fully present. They couldn't sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm not in my own body anymore. This is crazy. They would actually fully arrive and land exactly in the experience of someone else. Truly know, to truly open up the empathy of someone else's experience other than their own. And I think when we can do that, that's the key for understanding. When we know what someone else goes through, then we just understand what they are. That's why travel's so amazing. You travel around the world, you understand, oh, these people they're like me. We're all just human beings trying to live our lives to the best of our ability. And it's only when people are something else that then the fear comes in and the walls get constructed. I can't know. I don't know them, so I can't. I should fear them.
Yeah. Gia, that was an excellent question. Let's go ahead and bring up the next question from the chat. This one coming to us from Isa. Ooh, who is one actor you have not worked with who you want to? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Who wants to take that first? That could go. Who is someone out there in your craft who you would love the opportunity to work with?
Oh gosh,
I know, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's 1,000 people I could say, but because there's just so many. But I don't know if you guys are watching Mayor of Easttown.
Not yet.
Oh, that's Kate Winslet, isn't it? Yeah.
I won't give any spoilers. She's amazing. I would love to work with her too. But I was going to say, is it Evan Peters? Is that the name of the actor that's playing opposite her, who plays Zabel? Am I getting his name right? Gosh, darn it.
In front of me, but that particular actor.
He is so good on this show. Like, he just took a role, and please, everyone out there, forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong. I'm gonna Google it, but like, it's a great role. But like, it could have been sort of a nothing role with the wrong actor or with a different actor, I guess. And like, he just made so much of it, and he was so complex and believable. And Kate is such a force to be across from. I mean, like, part of what's really just astounding about the show, you get wrapped up into it, so you sort of forget about the craftsmanship of it in a good way because you're so wrapped up in caring about everybody. But if you were to remove yourself and look at how many long takes of her that they don't cut away from, it's astounding the work she's doing on this show. I mean, there's like 2 and 3 minute takes of close-ups of her where the whole scene just plays on her close-up. It's spectacular. But anyway, so he's across from a powerhouse like that, and he's stealing the show. Like, he's just so good. I don't even know how to. There's just so much nuance and texture, and like, he's like broken, but he's strong, but he's like supportive, but he's a little off about things, but I don't know how to explain it. He's just so good. He's nailing it. He's really nailing it.
Keegan, I have to ask you next because you've been in everything, including a number of shows that I am like, so I don't even know how you're going to answer it. Who is an actor you would like to work with?
You know, there's like various reasons why one might be one versus another. You know, it's easy to pull out people like Judi Dench or Olivia Colman, whom I love, these actors. Yeah. But I think right now I would say Omar Sy in Lupin, because then I could work in French and work in France, and I haven't awful crush on Omar Sy, so it's really great. I just really love that show, and I love the genre, and I love the way it looks and the way it's shot, and that it's in French, and just, so that would be my pick for this moment. Ask me in half an hour, it will be different, but
Yeah.
but right now, that's what I'll say.
What about you, Ian?
Oh gosh, I mean, just for like the pure longevity of how long I think this guy's been amazing, I'd say Al Pacino. I've been entertained by him and like loved watching him since from like way before that, from like the time, when I was like 12, I started paying attention to him. And then into his hoo-ah years, like he had a whole like stretch of years where he was like big and like, I'll just say whatever the hell I want and say it in any way I want. Because Scent of a Woman got him that Oscar and he just ran with it.
Yeah.
And then he got really character-y again. And when he played Jack Kevorkian, the suicide guy, a doctor who helps people assisted with assisted suicide. He was incredible in that role. And then he played Joe Paterno, the college football coach who got embroiled in that scandal with pedophilia that is his offensive coordinator got involved with. He was incredible in that. He's just amazing in everything he does. And Scarface I saw recently again. My God, he's so good. My wife was like, "What about his accent? That's ridiculous." I'll look past it.
Yeah, right. Beverly, what about you?
Oh God, same thing. 1,000 people. Immediately, Olivia Colman came to mind. Anthony Hopkins, I've always loved. We share a birthday. I just feel close to him away. And I years ago, my neighbors were home. I stood in for when I wasn't working at one point, and my agent said, "Do you want to do stand-in work?" And I went, "Sure, I need something." So I was a stand-in for Kathy Bates. And she was amazing. She was so kind to me and just so wonderful. The horrible part about being a stand-in is I'm on set, standing on her mark while they're setting up the lights and the camera and everything. You guys know this. I'm preaching to the choir, and Kathy Bates is sitting over in the chairs, holding court and telling stories to everybody. And I was like,
and you're like,
the DOP kept going, "Beverly, can you look this way? Can you look this way?" And I go, "Yes, I can." And then ever. And God bless Kathy Bates. I hardly got to talk to her until I ran into her one day when we were leaving, and she just said, "Oh my God, you're just doing such a great job. You're such a good stand-in." I went, "No, I'm not. I'm an actor. I'm a terrible stand-in. Ask the DOP. I'm only here because of you, And anyway, she was so kind, and she gave me a present, and I would just love to see her again, and I'd love to work with her. I just find her amazing.
That is a great answer. I want to let everyone who is watching this live stream know that you can still purchase your personalized autographs and your one-on-one live chats. All you have to do is go to galaxycon.com if you want to do that. And they basically, these lovely guests do that right after this panel concludes, after a short break. Let's get to the next question in the chat. I'm definitely loving what you're asking. From Ninki, and I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong there. If your favorite Disney character went dark... wait, hang on. This is a good one, you guys. If your favorite Disney character went dark and evil, would you still like them? I mean, I think we've watched a bit of that on Once Upon a Time, but let's go ahead, Jennifer, and start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to watch any character just sort of explore another side of themselves. I obviously have a different perspective, I guess, because Emma had her Dark Swan moment, which for me was really interesting to do. I mean, I know there were some fans that were like very freaked out by that. Some fans really loved that. But, none of us are entirely good or entirely bad. I think we're all complicated people. And even though, Emma was sort of kind of a fairy tale character, I try to look at it as just, it's interesting to explore all sides of someone and figure out what like kind of darker corners inform your lighter corners and vice versa. And so, I think, if Belle from Beauty and the Beast was suddenly like, a villain, it'd be interesting. I would definitely be curious to see what that looked like.
I have yet to meet an actor who has told me that they prefer playing a good character over a bad one? They, universally in your craft, so many of you love digging into what motivates someone to be evil. And is it really evil, or is it something different? And that to me is fascinating as a non-actor looking in from the outside. Keegan, if your favorite Disney character went dark and evil, would you still like them?
It's funny. I don't know. All I can think is how I'd like to play that. Yeah. Like versus the Belle that was in Descendants, who was always so nice with her little yellow dress. Like, imagine if Belle went rogue, started reading, I don't know, like propaganda. I don't know. It would be fun to play. I can't really say that. Like, I'm not one of those people that are like, this is my Disney princess and I've loved her since I was little. That's just not a thing that I have. So I guess the only way I can approach that is to say it would be really fun to play that. Like, I was devastated when they did the episode where everybody got to be the opposite of themselves. And I was shooting a pilot at the same time. And I had one day that conflicted where I was in this scene with like 80 people and I didn't matter. I didn't even talk. And because of that, they just wrote me out of the episode. That's, how these things go. Oh. And it was like so devastating because I was going to get a new thing and it was like the Black Fairy and they were making it all out of tires and whatever it was, crazy stuff that Eduardo had cooked up. And because I just really was so excited at the idea of being able to explore that and also to watch all the other characters as they were doing it, to see Ginny be evil Snow and stuff. I was like so down for that. And then I didn't get to see any of it. It was like, you can see I'm still upset about it. And it was like 5 years ago.
I just love, given how complicated your fairy costume was, that tires was where they went with it.
They were making like all those flowers that were all over the top here. I think Eduardo was like slicing them and making these flowers out of rubber. That's what I remember.
It would have looked amazing. So cool.
Would have been cool.
Yeah.
Beverly, what about you?
Sure, absolutely. I like the dark side. I find it interesting, and you just see what makes people tick, And I think people, I don't know, spend a lot of their time in their 20s exploring that more. I certainly did, and then now I feel like, yes, I'm living the light side of me, but it's those roles that you get to play that have a darker side. Like, it would have been fantastic if Granny had a real dark side that came forward and some history that we didn't know about. I don't have a real like Mickey Mouse or one of my Disney characters, but I just think, I agree. I think it's more interesting when you show the underneath, the shadow side that usually people overcome to get to the light side.
I just had an image of evil Mickey Mouse, which just really I was like, wow.
I know.
Exactly the words coming out of my mouth. I was like, I can't. It's like an earworm, but in my brain, I don't like it. Ian, what do you think?
Well, how about we saw 101 Dalmatians recently.
Oh yeah.
So I'll go with that. What if the guy, the husband, who marries the woman, their dogs kind of connect them and unite them, and they get married. He's a struggling musician who writes songs, and he ends up writing this song in the movie about Cruella de Vil, and it catches on and it becomes a hit. What if he was actually teamed up with Cruella and it was all a plan, and he helped her, he brought her they actually partnered up so she could take the dogs, and then so she kidnaps his own dogs, and then he makes a big thing about it in the press, and then it becomes a big news story, which it did. And it was all a scheme to get that song a number one on the charts that he had. And it was all like he just sacrificed his dog, his 100, however many dogs he had, his lady, his wife, all just for career, just to like get up that rung on the ladder. Like that kind of evil, just like all for just glory and winning.
Okay, write
really
that down.
It's really dark, Ian.
It's dark, but it's good. He answered the question. Let's go ahead and bring in the next question from the chat. From Mary. Ooh, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? Keegan, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I go to this one all the time because I worked with Stuart Margolin really early in my career, and I think he was directing the episode, and I had done this thing that I just thought was really great, and then when the episode came out, it wasn't in there, so it really was not that great. And I was just talking, I was still a really young actor, and I was learning, and he said to me, "Love nothing." And I was like, oh, I mean, it hurt to hear that, and it still feels pessimistic in some ways, but at the same time, like if you don't get attached to that line in your script, or you don't get attached to the way you're going to deliver this, or the relationship you're having with that character, and you're just like are present in the moment, and if it goes, it goes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I just think your journey is going to be much gentler, and I thought it was brilliant advice, and it has stayed with me for 20-some years.
I have to process that because I approached life from like love everything, and then but what an interesting way to like frame that in terms of your professional development. Ian, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh my gosh, I'm still taken with this one.
I know.
It's really good to hold on to nothing. It's all just we're in flow. Along those lines, I think of surfing and the metaphors that I took up surfing in kind of more recent years, and just how to ride a wave is, and I think the advice that I got from other surfers that really stuck with me is finding the flow of the ocean. The tide moves. The ocean has its own life. It works in as an entire system. And instead of muscling it and trying to force it to find its flow and get in the flow of it, and then it will support you in your journey, specifically with this riding the wave. And it's definitely you can extrapolate all other kinds of ways of life through this analogy, and I think it's connected to what Keegan said of just. But anyways, it reminds me of it. Don't take anything as too precious, and don't hold on tight is really what it is. Mm-hmm. Let go. Be in flow.
Mm-hmm. Works on a lot of levels. Beverly, what about you?
I love this conversation, by the way.
I know.
It's a great panel. The one that I always go to is if it scares you, it's something you want to do. If it scares you, then do it. It's good. So into the phrase, leap and the net will appear. So just jump. And I have done that, and I've been scared out of my mind. I've spent money on a CD. I didn't know where that money was going to come from. I was writing checks for $1,000 to all these musicians. Like, I don't know. When I put it in the mail and I sent it off, this is years ago, to get pressed and get manufactured, the phone rang the next day, and I'd landed 16 days on moving. And it was like there, and that paid for the whole thing. So again and again, I have to remind myself to be brave enough to do that. But every time I take a huge leap, that is something that I want to do and it scares me, the net shows up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. Jennifer, I'm including you in this conversation, but boy, did they really bring
I feel like answers. This is like the superhero situation where it's like, since the other ones are already taken. I know this is a quote, I'm not sure from who, and I'm totally going to butcher it, but it's sort of that idea of like, you can either choose to create something and be judged, or create nothing and stay invisible.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I remind myself of that a lot, and I kind of give versions of advice about that a lot, because it's like, no matter what you make, it's going to be vulnerable, and it's going to be judged, and people are going to have opinions about it, but then you made it, and what's the other option? That you just don't make it, you don't express yourself, you don't make the thing that your heart wants to make just because you don't want to be judged, and then you just sort of keep your light hidden, So I would much rather weather the judgment than live without creating.
I think Brené Brown has a whole talk about that, where she talks about, as creatives, I'm sorry to leap in on this, but I was like, how we get so often are like, we're in these states of crisis a lot of times. And she was like, but that's the price that we pay to put ourselves out there and be judged. That's like the bargain we make with this sort of Faustian career that we have chosen as creatives. It just reminded me of that, Jen.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm familiar with that quote, and as someone who's not normally an inspirational quote person, it resonated with me, at least the version of it that I read, which is very similar. So I love that is something that is sort of central in your mind. Let's bring in one more question into the chat right now from Mona. Okay, good. This is the best. Good. Because, like, given everything these folks have been in, like, I don't even know how we're going to unpack all this. Mona wants to know, what other fandom would you like to see cross over into the world of Once Upon a Time? Now, should we duke it out to see who goes first? Because this could just be a riot. I don't know. Who wants to answer?
Can you
across
imagine
the board, we've
if
all
the Game of
often
Thrones
said
people
Star
like
Wars.
showed up in Storybrooke? You know, Daenerys was like just levels all of Mr. Gold's shop or something. That'd be pretty good.
That's a really, really good one as a huge Game of Thrones fan. All right, who's next? Ian? Beverly.
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh my God, they'd eat at Granny's every day.
Yes.
They would.
They'd be stuck in Storybrooke trying to
They'd be staying at Granny's, right? Wouldn't they be staying at your little bed and breakfast?
That's true. That would be fun. And then
Beverly, I just hired Eugene Levy's brother, Fred, as my accountant.
oh my God,
What?
that's hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, you always see his name in the credits. I didn't know what his job was. So he's the money guy.
No, wait, his name's in the credits? Oh, I just meant that Eugene Levy has a brother. His name is Fred, and he's an accountant, and I just hired him.
No, I realize that, but when you watch, I think Fred Levy is always in the credits of shit.
Oh, I didn't know
Or
that.
maybe
he's a
he's the
producer.
accountant for the show.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's clearly the accountant for the show. Fantastic.
Could The Walking Dead be like, I don't know,
Yes.
I can imagine
Yes.
once upon,
Wasn't
like,
it in an
zombies.
That just sounds really exhausting for Emma. Come on.
No, we're trying to
This is
find
making a
Emma.
lot of
She's
work.
missing, and you can conveniently be asleep in your trailer.
Yes.
Study.
All nap. Emma will fight zombies.
Yeah.
That's so good. Jennifer, what about you?
I mean, I've often said Star Wars, which I do think would be fun, but I was also thinking it would be really funny if Dr. House was the doctor for everyone in Storybrooke. Like, it'd be hysterical to watch him interact with like Pinocchio's wooden leg. Like, what would he do? You know, like,
Could he be the one who could be fun?
like Emma comes in, she's like, they tried to pull my heart out, and you'd be like, what?
Oh, yeah, he's like a straight up doctor. He's just like totally rational from this
Yeah.
world. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like
Yeah.
a science guy first.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Didn't learn about hearts
I'm
being
impressed
pulled
with
from
that.
chest cavities in med school, or black hearts, or
Yeah. And then he'd go down the rabbit hole and like really get into it. Be like, but the thing is, this portal opened. And then when they went there,
Sold. I think we have it, Mona. I think you've got a lot to work with as you write the fanfic for that to make that happen. Hey, to everyone out there in the chat, we appreciate your questions and we appreciate your time. And to this panel, this was amazing. This was one of the deeper panels that I've ever hosted, and it was a real joy to spend this time with you and kind of get to know you on some different levels. So thank you so much for that. And again, for those of you out there, you can still get in on those personalized autographs and the one-on-one live chats. If you have a question that you would really like answered, all you have to do is go to galaxycon.com. I'm your host, Steph Strickland. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
so good to see you guys.
Thank you. It was good to see
You
you.
all.